In our next episode at Club Random Classics, we revisit my conversation with the one and only Lisa Kudrow. You know her from Friends, but you haven't heard the audition story so awkward it almost ended her career. We dig into sitcom madness, jaw-dropping backstage stories, and a surprisingly deep chat about acting. I even confess which Lisa series I secretly love, and it isn't what you think. Oh, wait, we're not supposed to hug because of the mics. Can you still hear it?
And the Omicron. I said, oh no, I don't hug because of Omicron.
No, I have
and then
none
I
of
forgot
that.
because
I'm
I
full
saw
of
you.
monkeypox. No, that's the old Dean Martin show where he didn't know who the guest was. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't? You don't remember the Dean Martin show?
No.
Really? You're
Really?
too young for that? Oh.
Well, I might be a little.
It gave
Unless my parents watched it. I don't think they did.
I bet you your mother did. My mother had such a pussy boner for Dean Martin in that show. He was a very attractive guy.
Yeah.
And of course, that character he played, sort of a character who was like drunk. He really wasn't drunk, but he did really.
Oh, he really wasn't ever.
No.
Really.
But he really did only show up for the taping. So he had these three broads called the Gold Diggers, something you would never.
Wait, no, that sounds familiar.
Yes, and they would literally lead him and prop him up in front of the card, which he would read and fuck up, which made it funnier.
Right.
And there was one section of the show where it was at the piano with his piano guy tinkling and it was like, and the door would open, it's Ella Fitzgerald, or Sammy Davis. He had no idea. I really think that was true. I did know, I've been asking from the beginning, I said, if I could get you here, what hipper person for this little hipper place? What? I'm your biggest.
Really?
You didn't, why? Why would you think I wouldn't want you? I would never want anyone here, first of all, in my house, who I didn't adore.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to hear that.
Well,
I feel
why
like
did
I'm
you
just
come?
a big disappointment.
Disappointment?
No, because I'm in awe of you.
Oh.
I adore you.
Good. See, that's why.
But I don't assume it's a two-way street.
Of course.
I live in the real world.
Oh, no, this is my home. This is, I don't know, this is only for fun.
Yeah.
This whole thing. I did spend.
Yeah, are you liking it?
Oh my God. Look, I'm not going to lie. I spent quite a bit of money so that we could, set this place. It's almost like a reality show combined with a podcast, but that's the way I wanted it so that we could have, there's a lot of podcasts and I find them, some are great, but they're, there's a big penis mic in your face.
I haven't done that one.
Well, you know what I mean? There's a giant.
I've done the one with the big flat flower in your face.
What's that?
Like vagina.
Oh,
flower.
Yeah, I've seen those.
I went too far. I went too.
Well,
out of.
I wanted
obvious.
Just to be like the way I really am, except there's no music. That always, of course we can't while we're talking. But it just feels like there is something missing and everything else feels right. It's just us. There's nobody else in the room. There's liquor and these clove cigarettes. I don't know what they're putting in these things, but let me tell you,
It's too bad you're not allowed to know.
I know.
That's the surprise.
Well, cloves. Do you know, I know you're a history buff. Do you know anything about the history of cloves?
No.
Well, make it up.
Okay. Me? Make it up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, tobacco was for export, so they couldn't afford to let regular folks smoke it.
Isn't that interesting?
But that sounded possible, right?
So incredibly real. Like if I had not set it up like make it up, I would have just gone with it.
I could make up anything.
Yeah. Many of us could, When the kids feel bad about not knowing shit, I always try to comfort them by saying, we all don't know, when you think of the infinite amount of things that you could possibly know in this world. Even the smartest person does not even know 0.1%.
Right.
Yeah. We're almost fully ignorant of everything, what we, obviously, some people more than others.
Well, no, and then the things you learn you don't remember. So that's too bad.
That's true,
That part's really too bad.
I think that has something to do with the clothes. I don't know. I can't make a direct correlation, but...
Well, no, they're doing studies with clothes and cognition.
Can I make you a drink, or...?
No, I have water.
That's all you want?
Yeah.
You're
I know it's 5 o'clock,
You're
so it's okay.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Oh, wait, here. Are you abstemious?
Yeah, I don't drink a lot. I mean, you said abstemious, so I thought, okay.
Oh, abstemious.
Abstaining?
I think I
Abstaining?
mispronounced it.
Abstemious, you said?
Abstemious. Doesn't that mean you're...
Are you? No.
With drinking, the only time I drink really is here.
Oh, really?
Yes. I used to drink, like an Irishman. I was never a drunk, although I certainly have been drunk many times, but I drank Irishly, which is not good for your liver, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to look like Ted Kennedy. So I, especially now that he's dead, but even before, that kind of
No, it takes a toll.
especially if you're Irish.
Really?
Well, sure, because you're lighter.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of black don't crack.
No, but European.
Cracks the most.
European. All Europeans are pretty white.
But more so
Irish.
like the beautiful people of the Nordic countries somehow are even further north, but they have that beautiful olive skin, usually.
They do?
Yes.
Olive?
Yes.
Wait, why doesn't that sound even a little bit right to me? You mean the blonde
Think of them.
Scandinavian
Yes,
people?
Scandinavian, of course. They don't look like the Gaelic people, my people. They're not ruddy.
Wait a minute.
Yes,
What's ruddy? What is ruddy? What's ruddy?
Ruddy is red.
Yeah.
Red.
That's what I thought.
Well, think of somebody like,
Ted Kennedy. Yeah.
Right.
I'll throw a name out.
But not
Ted Kennedy.
But not Jack Kennedy. He looked more.
Well, he had
Scandinavian.
makeup.
Always? He was just a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
It's funny how in families sometimes there's just, siblings and one of them is the good-looking one.
Yeah.
Bobby,
Well, he was good looking.
not like Jack. He was a little...
Was he that good looking though?
He was sexier because he was grittier.
I guess.
I think
Not my
that's-
type. But
I think that's not your type,
a Jack Kennedy? No.
but a Bobby Kennedy.
Was a little cuter to me.
Physically cuter?
Yeah.
See, most people would say not that. They would say the reverse.
Right.
And I even think that you're, as a woman who are deeper and feel things on a deeper level, well, it's true, especially in this subject. It's like the physical part is not as important to you. I think something about Bobby Kennedy is getting to you in your deep woman way.
Maybe. But here, I misled. I was just comparing. But none of the Kennedys are my type.
None of the Kennedys.
No.
Because of their look or because of their actions?
Their teeth.
Their teeth. No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What's wrong with their teeth?
I don't know.
That's the British who have the bad teeth.
No, it's not that they had bad teeth, but I didn't like their teeth. I just didn't like it. I don't, no.
Wow.
They all looked like.
And did this
yeah.
infect your view of their politics?
No.
No.
Well, I was.
You would not vote for someone because of their teeth, Lisa Kudrow, would you?
Well, I don't like Bill Clinton's teeth. No, but I. No, but I was born when John Kennedy was killed.
63?
Yeah.
I was 7.
Then,
yeah.
And I was 5 when Bobby Kennedy was
Right.
killed. So, no. I didn't have
Well-
politics about them. But my parents were huge fans.
So are mine.
Yeah.
But that's because my father, again, Irish, Catholic, and and my grandfather had a full brogue.
Really?
Yes, I never
he
met.
was from
No,
Ireland?
but he was, I guess, second
raised
generation.
with everybody, yeah. So he,
But this is, a man I never met. But it's funny, if I had done your show instead of Skip Gates' show,
yeah.
we would have
You
already.
did? Did I
Yes.
see it? I watch all of the shows? I guess I don't remember them. When did you do it?
I would say 4 years ago.
Oh, shoot.
Something like that.
I'll rewatch it. Look, that sounds like I'll rewatch it. Like,
I mean,
okay,
but
now I have to do that.
your show was fantastic. I mean, it's a
Thanks.
great idea for a show, and the way you make
I wish
into
it were my idea.
as a
It's
history
not.
major, I appreciate.
Oh, you're a history major.
I was in college.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a lot more history than
Oh yeah, I know.
anyone learns in
I
high
love
school, right? Or
I love
ever
history,
learned.
and I love when you weave it in.
Yeah. No, because that's why I loved this show, because it's history, but it's the personal stories
Right.
that drive it home.
Sure.
It's
And
the
that makes
actual
it
effects
more
of
interesting,
history.
Yeah.
Like, why can't they teach it?
But when I did his show, my genealogy for Skip,
Yeah.
I mean, the star of it was my grandfather, who again I never met, but he was a baller. He was a macho guy. He ran the Boatsmen's Union
Oh,
in New Jersey and New York. You know, the Circle Day line, the stuff that went around Manhattan. This is in the days when the Irish ran New York.
Right.
Every cop, every fireman, you know,
Teamsters.
Officer Mike, yeah. So
and this isn't part of the Teamsters because it's boats.
no,
It's-
that's truck.
It's
this
nautical.
Is this. No, yes, it's nautical.
Okay.
And it was also what happened, I guess, on the ports because he had a headline from 1920, and it was my grandfather called a strike and was brought up to the White House because it had to be settled because this was the port of New York.
Oh, yeah.
But he was a Union captain who got, in the days when, I mean, what unions had to fight for back then was like, you know,
Yeah.
we would like a 14-hour workday, and we're not.
Right.
And you could only whip them if that, you know, it was just crazy what he had to fight
And you
for.
don't get to choose who we marry. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, crazy shit.
Yeah.
So that was my grandfather.
Wow.
William Maher, also. I would have been William Maher III if I had been confirmed in the
What?
Catholic Church, because I would have been William Aloysius Maher. That was my grandfather's name and my father's name, and I was supposed to be William Aloysius Maher. But you get your middle name at your confirmation, the Catholics. So,
Oh.
and I never made it that far. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you're still, that's not your given name, like the birth certificate doesn't
I
say?
have no middle name.
Oh, you don't
Because
have-
you're supposed to
Oh,
get
you
it
have
at
to
13.
wait.
You're supposed to get it at 13 when you're confirmed. It's a big thing in the Catholic Church. At 7, you have your first communion. That traumatized me like I can't even tell you. And then 13, you're confirmed. I don't know what.
Wait, why did
It's sort
it
of like the
traumatize-
bar mitzvah.
Why did it traumatize you?
What? You know, nuns,
Yeah.
fucking sadists, and you know.
Oh, they
and
were?
Well, of course.
Well, some of them are nice, I assume. On Trouble with Angels, they were really nice. But I mean,
Well, nuns are married to Christ, and apparently he's not putting out because they have a kind of a anger
Nuns are-
issues that you only get when you've never been late. I don't know what it was, and I was 7 years old. All I know is one of them one day, for example, this one sticks in my mind, said, you know, we're in the church and they're doing their shit up there, and I guess I was like, you know, and she said, the boy who's slumping is going to go to hell.
oh, wow.
They did shit like that.
Wait a minute. Okay, but I thought your mom
Jewish.
is Jewish.
Right. That I never even knew until I was 13 because I was so traumatized by going to church. I didn't even think, why doesn't mom come? I don't know. She just never does. It never crossed my mind to ask. I just wanted to get out of it.
But I thought it was tricky for a Catholic to marry a Jew.
It was,
So
especially,
how did that all happen?
especially in 1951 when they
Right,
did
so
it. It was
how-
like an interracial marriage, not even today,
Right.
but like 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it was in the 60s too, and even into the 70s, it was sort of starting to get like, wow.
Did you watch Mad Men?
Yeah.
Remember the first season or second, there was a plot line of he goes out with the girl from the Jewish department store.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Jews had their own department store?
Or owned a very successful department store. I don't think
Right,
they
but
had
I mean,
their
like,
own.
I think Gimbels,
Yeah.
the real Gimbels was that.
Yeah.
I think in a day when, what?
Oh, so
but
that
I'm just
Jews
saying
will
how
have a
fucking,
place to shop?
yes,
No.
well, just the idea that this was the early 60s and Gentiles and Jews shopped separately
Oh, I
in
wasn't aware of
department
that.
stores?
Wait, I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of that. Are you sure? History major?
I'm not sure that a Jew couldn't walk into
Macy's. They
Macy's.
did.
I guess so.
And
yes,
Bloomingdale's.
Yes, but it seemed to me like he was he was, of course, cheating on his wife, as he always was.
Right.
But also, he was sort of like crossing into a different world, is the way they sort of presented it.
Right.
And I think people don't realize how much Jew and Gentile, you know, I mean, when Kennedy ran in '60, it was a big deal that he was Catholic.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
This country is always changing, as people are always changing and growing and
getting used to each other's differences.
progressing. These people who cannot help themselves from looking backward and saying, you know what, you people were so benighted back then. And you know what, if you had lived back then with us, you would have been the same asshole.
Right.
History is very much like humans. It's like looking at your own life and going, what a dick I was at 8.
Yeah.
Ugh, I can't believe I spent all that time thinking about baseball cards. Dumbass. You know, it's childish,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but what's childish? But what part's childish?
The childish part is feeling superior.
Oh,
That
well,
you are
yeah.
woker now, but it's not you are better. You just are living in a different time.
Right.
You would have been just like us.
Yes.
We all wore big hair in the 80s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I
don't know if my hair was that big, but because, I wasn't that in step. But yeah.
What does that
No,
mean?
it's true.
You're not in step. You mean you were...
With big hair, that
No, but I mean,
wasn't
in
the
step
look I
in
was
general, you were an outsider, you're saying?
I was a little moody, I was, a little bit.
Moody.
And doing 80s. Yeah, well, starting Groundlings and figuring out my
Right.
comedic voice and, all of that was the most important thing ever. So that's all I was thinking about. I really didn't want to look like absolutely everybody else because I didn't think I'd do well if I was trying to. But no, but I mean, getting back to what you were saying, though, because I was talking about this, like in the context of who do you think you are? Because we're going to be on soon. And I was saying, I think it's really important to know our history and understand
So
how it
important.
informed how our society worked
Yes.
and what was tolerated. There were people thought it was perfectly okay to own another human being. That's
But, let's have some context to that. They thought that everywhere in the world.
yeah, but not 30 years after everywhere else in the world stopped doing
You're
it
talking about
in
America.
the South. And in America in the South,
Yeah, we
doing it.
have brought up the rear on a number of issues.
Yeah.
That's one of them. 80 countries, I think, have had a woman leader.
Oh, mm-hmm.
We have not, universal health care. Most of the big boy countries have a much better system,
Yes.
Nothing is perfect in that realm. People track their steps, their sleep, their screen time, but blood pressure? Well, we treat it like that old can of tuna in the pantry. If I don't check it, it's probably fine. Meanwhile, it's the #1 risk factor out there, just quietly doing damage with the manners of a librarian. And like most families, our staff has relatives dealing with it. You hit a certain age and suddenly everyone owns a home monitor and starts taking their sodium intake very seriously. That's why there's 120 Life. It's just a once-a-day functional drink that helps support healthy blood pressure. Not a pill, not a stimulant, not some trendy biohack. It actually tastes good, super fruit juice, refreshing, and the powdered version's got 1 gram of sugar, so it's easy to stick with. You drink it, check your numbers, and a lot of people see improvement in as little as 2 weeks. No drama, no mystery, just results. Imagine that. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com and use my code RANDOM for 20% off. Try it risk-free for 2 weeks. If your blood pressure doesn't come down, you get a full refund. Again, 120life.com, code RANDOM. These statements have not been approved by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And don't get me started
But
on
remember
health.
when medicine wasn't big business? Because that in the 70s, it wasn't. It was still like the healing arts.
Well, healthcare is a mess in this country for many reasons, but the top two probably would be, for me, yes, the corporate element of it. The fact that a hospital is run very much like an airline. They don't want any empty seats on an airplane, and they don't want any empty beds. That's why when there's a crisis, they're overrun. They should have excess, space, but that would hurt the bottom line.
Right.
So that's huge. And the other huge thing, I think, is that the people are just so incredibly unhealthy to begin with. And that is absolutely something I lay at the doorstep of the medical establishment, who doesn't have the balls to tell them what they should and shouldn't do. And of course, how cozy the pharmaceutical industry is with the medical industry. And I mean, I'm not saying it's all corruption. I mean, obviously COVID was a real thing, and I have many qualms about how we handled it, but I mean, that's not anybody's fault. But if the population wasn't so fundamentally unhealthy to begin with, it would not have devastated this country the way it did. We had a worse outcome than any other country.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
It turns out that we did
so,
proportionally?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I seem to remember that headline a couple of months ago. I mean, I'm sure there are variations and per capita and blah, 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 but I mean, it was over 1 million people. And of course, that's a fuzzy stat also, because they don't really make any differentiation between dying of COVID and dying with COVID.
Right.
And anyone with medical sophistication understands that everything in medicine is a combination of factors.
I'm starting to hear more and more about personalized medicine, like a doctor who's practicing personalized medicine.
What does that mean?
So that not just going by looking into what else about your physical makeup and your biology might be contributing to whatever symptoms or what's going on, instead of just treating the symptoms.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Or calling it this disease.
I thought that was...
It's not that syndrome, because there's other things informing it.
I mean, that's a lot of holistic medicine.
Right.
What I would call holistic medicine.
Right,
You know,
now they're calling it personalized, because they don't want to sound...
Right,
like
they don't want to sound like hippies.
Right.
That word got, right, that's quack stuff.
Right, you're
but
not allowed to say that.
I mean, some of it is. I'll tell you an interesting thing about, and I have had a holistic doctor who I think changed my life as much as anybody, and I'm very grateful. He absolutely knows that I don't agree with everything.
Yeah.
And I also definitely want a MD doctor also. I think you need both to balance.
Yeah. Well, you might get more information, too, that you can decide about.
But so, I started to get into it. This is like almost 20 years ago, and everything is super natural, which I totally get that. I remember the first time we went out socially, there was one restaurant in all of LA he would go to that was pure enough.
Wait, who would?
This is my holistic doctor.
Oh, okay.
So, he just wouldn't have anything, no bread, down the line. Natural, no antibiotics, of course, no pharmaceuticals, no this, no that, no sugar, nothing. But then, very big on colonics.
Oh. Okay.
Which may or may not.
I remember that trend.
I don't think it's a trend, but point being, if you're natural, when you think about sticking water up your ass, the word that comes to mind is not natural. It's not like if I was just standing around with a garden hose in my hand, I would absent-mindedly just stick it up my ass, So for everything to be natural, and also stick water up your ass.
Right. It's not something that naturally occurs. Right.
But it also might be very good for you.
I don't know if it's really good for you.
Nobody knows anything for sure in medicine. That's
Thank you.
Nobody, I'm always trying to push this point.
Yes.
Just, you know what? I accept where we are. I have to. What could I do else? We're in the year 2022.
Yes.
In 2052, they're not going to look back and go, boy, in 2022, we pretty much had it all figured out medically, didn't we? We were just crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
They're going to do what they do every 7 years, which is, we were wrong about that.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Just don't give me the attitude of just do what we say. Because when have we ever been wrong?
Right.
all the time.
All the time. All the time.
And it's not mostly your fault. It's just, again, like the year we live in.
No, but just be honest.
Be honest.
We don't really know.
Right.
But what's recommended, and there's some studies that show this might work. They're associative studies, not cause and effect, so we can't know absolutely. But here's all I have to offer. Yeah, go for it. But don't say, like they did, no, honey, for your pregnancy, you need to take DES. You're pregnant and you're nauseous, so you'll just take,
what's DES?
DES. This estrogen.
Right.
That caused all kinds of reproductive problems in the kids that were born.
Did you take it?
No.
Good.
No, not me. I mean my mom's generation, your mom's generation. And, I do know a lot of people who have reproductive problems because of it.
But they gave it to all the women?
No.
Back then?
No, but they were offering it a lot.
Right.
Just like in the 20s, they were insisting, yeah, you need some opium. I mean, we have to give you, because you're hysterical.
Right.
You're going through the change and you're hysterical. Or you just had a baby, so you're hysterical.
Right.
And yet all these people, it's the same crisis we're having.
Yes.
And we had it in the 20s. It all happened. And then the government made it illegal. And they went to heroin. You had the exact same problem. We just repeated history.
And in 100 years, this will be the 20s that they're talking about, with the same attitude that we're talking about the 1920s.
Right.
Things will seem incredibly primitive in their thinking and just very wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, simple things like they very often misdiagnose fungal infections for bacterial infections. They treat everything with antibiotics. First of all, there's a lot of money in it. But it's also just where, like, I'm not saying they're trying to be corrupt. It's just like...
Right. Well, I don't know.
Someone's
of it is... trying to make money.
Well, yes, and also...
But the doctors are just trying to give you the best information they have.
Yes. And also, they listen to the patients too much, Ask your doctor. We're only one of 2 countries that has direct-to-consumer advertising for pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
So you should never be like, hey, doc, could I get some of that? Sure, the cute rep from the pharmaceutical company was by this afternoon, and she strutted her ass in here and winked at me, and I bought a whole passel of this, and they're taking me on this cruise in a couple of months. That shit goes on with doctors.
I know.
And it's very easy just to pass out antibiotics and Vicodin, and especially if you're one of these low-rent, I certainly have heard the stories from people who go to the one on the corner in the, urgent care, and it's like I've heard harrowing stories of just terrible decisions that these people are making because they don't care. They're not really your doctor.
Right.
I mean, it's like I know my mechanic better than they, so.
Look at me. I don't. I don't know anyone.
You just did like a U right there. You did that like you were reading a line that's why you're so good.
Thanks. I was going to say disingenuous.
No, your line, I've never seen you in anything where you didn't kill it. And
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so funny the way you you never seem to want to be out front. You just want to be the one who steals it, and you always do.
No, I just want to be the one who steals it. That would be funny. That's what I tell my agents. No, just find me something where I can steal it.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I don't know when the last time I saw you, but, because, these clothes. But, if I never told you how big a fan I was of the comeback.
Oh, you are?
Today would be the time. Really? We never talked about that?
I don't think so. Well, I don't know.
And
I have secondary clove issues.
And the reboot.
Oh,
but I
Thank
mean.
you. I'm most proud of that than
you
anything.
should be. That was a genius show.
Thank
and
you.
I am not an easy complimenter, and I don't bullshit. That's why I don't have people here I don't like, because I'm not a good liar.
Yeah.
So I can't pretend,
that
I'm really into, Danny Bonaducci. I'm sorry, Danny, if you're listening. Actually, I'd love to have you on. I guess I have to say that now. But,
I like Danny Bonaducci.
I do, of course.
I do.
God damn it, why can't we get him on this show?
Well.
But The comeback was,
Thanks.
yeah, that was just.
Thanks.
I mean, I saw them all multiple times.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
Thanks.
everybody was, you know, that the actor, I don't know his name, I don't think I ever did, who played the heavy-set writer producer who was mean to you.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Lance. He's on Young Sheldon. He plays the father now.
Oh,
Yeah, he
okay.
finally, people stopped thinking he's really mean.
I was just going to say,
Barber.
he was
So good.
good, and there was something about that show that was so real, and of course I lived that world of sitcoms too. You know, but it wasn't that. I mean, it is universal.
But were you on writing staffs
No,
too?
no,
Yeah.
not on sitcoms.
No.
So I know that tension with the writing, right? Especially when you're a comedian, and they kind of hired you to be funny, and they
Right.
did use a lot of. I was on that show, Sarah. Do you remember that with Gina Davis?
Oh,
it was 1985,
okay. Yeah,
NBC.
Yeah.
Not that much before you ran your run.
10 years, yeah.
It's
85,
10 years.
94, we started.
Right.
But wait, so they would encourage you to pitch lines and alternatives and stuff. And,
Absolutely.
And they used them.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean, it made their job easier.
Well,
but they also could be
I
insulted.
do appreciate that, though, when they do a lot. That means that they really do want the best show. So it
Yes.
doesn't matter where it comes from, because I think it's a bigger
Right.
disaster when their ego
You're right.
gets in the way of
Right.
wherever the great line comes from. What do you care?
But I was 28 and stupid, and this was my first job,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't sometimes get it. Like one time, I remember the first run through, we always, the Mondays, I remember that whole schedule
Right.
of, you just.
The read through.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the first time they see it on its feet, what they wrote, their
Right.
first draft.
Yeah.
And like I had changed lines, and I remember Gary David Goldberg saying to me, could we hear ours once?
Yeah. Right.
Before you tell me it's shit.
I was told that too. And
Could we hear our
They're
version?
right. But they're
They
right.
were-
It's fair enough. They worked so hard.
Exactly.
Give them their thing, and
That's-
then pitch your thing.
That's amazing.
It's easy courtesy. It's easy.
That's why it sucks being young. There's good reasons why it's great.
Well, young, you're trying to prove yourself.
And you're stupid.
And
That was just
and you're
stupid.
And
It was just
impatient.
fucking stupid.
And it's just, you gotta know that I've got good ideas before
Right.
I don't have the opportunity to tell
No.
you. You don't know that I do. Yeah, it's stupid.
Gary David
Patient.
Goldberg,
It's okay.
who got that show canceled because he had a shoving match with Brandon Tartikoff at a taping.
Oh.
So he could be volatile, and I could have set him off. And he was always nice to me. He never, for whatever reason, sometimes you're so young and dumb that they know that they can't really hold it against you, because it's like blaming the dog,
Yeah, or they don't care.
No,
Which is worse.
He cared, but yeah, that show got canceled
Yeah.
when there was this shoving match. Can you believe that? He was at the time one of the most powerful producers in television.
But was it a good show?
Sarah, it was what a sitcom in the 80s was. I think it was a little above average. It did pretty well in the ratings.
Oh, wow. So that is what. got it
Gina was
canceled.
coming off a couple of movies. She was
Yeah.
a very rising.
Yeah.
Alfre Woodard
Oh, my God.
and Bronson Pinchot
yeah.
were the other three. We were 4 lawyers in San Francisco. They felt after half the episodes we needed a boss.
Oh.
So then they brought in a boss figure. You know how they
Yeah,
thought
right.
the networks, those kind of notes.
Yeah,
and,
they made Friends get an adult. Really nice, good actor.
We're just children, and they have to discipline. We have to,
Someone.
hire someone to play the part of someone who keeps us in order.
Right. So God bless Martin and David. All right, we'll try. But yeah.
Yeah, and there was a neighbor with a kid, so they could get a kid in the show, but that was sort of shoehorned in.
Because kids always make shows fly.
You had to. Well, I guess they did, because for the longest time, didn't every show have to have a kid? I remember.
Yeah, but you have to have great kids. I mean, Roseanne had great kids. Sarah Gilbert was so great. And
Yeah.
they were great, those kids. They were really, truly funny.
I remember after I did that sitcom, and then I did one on Showtime called Hard Knocks.
Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar.
And then I did one with Sam Kinison in 1990, and then
Really?
yeah, it was very short-lived, and he was on heroin, so it didn't really work.
Shoot.
But
Should have been called Shoot. God rest his soul. That's not fun.
but I remember there was also a period there, like 89, 90, 90, when I was like, I'd done a few of these sitcoms, so I was like pitching. I was at that point where you pitch your own sometimes, and you know you get the notes, and I had a deal with Fox. I remember I went to the something they had like where they were showing the Advertisers their new shows or some shit.
Yeah, the upfronts.
Yeah, but it must have been like some of them weren't picked up yet.
Okay.
And this was one of them.
Would you buy ads for this?
Right.
Was one of those.
And apparently they were like, no, we would not. We would not sell toothpaste. It was called Bill Gets a Life. And really, I couldn't make that up. And yeah, they were like, there was that, you need a kid discussion.
For you?
Yes.
For Bill Gets a Life? Bill Maher needs a kid in the show.
It was just like, we work for the network. They're paying us. We have to pretend we know something and are doing something. So.
Wait, did you write it too?
Yeah.
Did you write the pilot?
It was Gary Shandling had a production deal.
Yeah.
And we had the same manager, and so like it was we worked on it together, the pilot.
Okay.
And then, I mean, I wrote a bunch of other episodes just hoping they would pick it up, but they didn't. But of course, it was never my calling, as it is
Sitcom.
was yours to act.
Yeah. Well. Do you know Gary Shandling? I was so in awe of Gary Shandling,
Yeah.
of course. And I was brought in to audition for Larry Sanders before it was on, like
Oh,
the
really?
pilot. Mm-hmm. And I
For
was
what?
so excited. Janine Garofalo's role.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't remember the character's name.
wow.
And, you know, I came in and I was just sort of being me. And I wish I could remember exactly. I think this was it. Gary said, so we're going to read this together. And he was being funny, which was funny.
Oh.
And I just said, oh, okay. So I'm not reading it alone. All right. And he just went,
Oh.
yeah, okay. And we read it. And then, you know, I wasn't chit-chatty because I knew for auditions, you're not there to make friends.
Right.
You know, he's going to do that. I'll just respond with a joke, say, you know,
Well.
but maybe a little too dry, you know. And then, and I left. And I'm walking down, it's a very long hall, and I hear the door open, and he's peeking out, looking really scared, like to make sure that I'm leaving the building. And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm kind of smiling, like, he's so funny. We're still doing our bit. And he's like, we will call. We really will call. And I
you're
was like,
kinda-
all right. And I keep going, and I'm like, it wasn't a bit. He's really scared of me. Oh my God, I was too dry. I didn't wink enough at, you know, the bit. It had nothing to do with the scene.
Well,
It was like whatever I did, like just joking back, didn't
I mean,
work.
Gary.
I hated it. Can you imagine? Because I loved him so much. It's like, wouldn't it mean so much that, you know, Gary Shandling thinks I'm funny? And then
I'm sure Gary Shandling thought you were. There's no way in the world. Oh, please.
no, he's
a quirky guy.
So real.
I mean, you're describing a moment in time, and with a quirky guy like Gary Shandling, I loved him, but yes, a little unpredictable at any given moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had a moment working on that thing together that was highly unpleasant.
Oh.
It happens in show business.
Yeah.
People cross, and again, young. Listen to this. I just thought of this, speaking of how stupid I could have been in a room. When I first auditioned out here, I didn't understand that the producers, sometimes it just said producers, were the writers.
No, me neither.
Okay.
Right.
So I read
It's a
for the two
different thing.
producers, and then I go, who wrote this shit? I swear to God, that happened.
God.
I know. And I live to tell the tale. I mean, like, many times I feel like I could have, like...
I'm sorry,
been
that is stupid.
so
Because
beyond...
even if they're not the writers, they're still producing it.
I know.
So it's
No,
not like
I
someone's
know.
got a gun to their head to produce it.
But again, and I bet you a lot of people in America can relate to this. The word producer is very fuzzy. It kind of still is for us because it's like it could really mean anything. So I kind of had in my head producer, Dory Sherry, sitting in an office with a phone, like, hello, I'm here from Galactic Pictures and I'd like to see that audition from Bill Maher. That was the producer. Not the writers. The writers were scribes, they were like guys in T-shirts. And so I just thought, oh, these are the producers, and they probably think they must know that this is shit.
It's so funny. I know I was tempted at times so that they would know that I know that it's no good. It's like, what does that get you? It doesn't get you anywhere.
Oh.
But to this day, when someone says they're a producer, I still have 500 questions. Like a concierge or like a writer? Like what form does your role as producer take? Is it creative at all? Or are you a line producer?
Right.
Like you actually get the show done? Like,
right. No, it's almost anything. And then, of course, it gets muddied even more because the inflation of the title that anyone who is anything on the show, I've seen 20 producer people. And I know these are the writers. They just want a producer credit because then you're in that union or it's all that kind of bullshit. So we don't know what...
Well, it's a promotion. And then you're working your way up to executive producer. Once you get executive producer, they can trust you to create a show, maybe run a show.
Right, but people get
a piece of the show.
But you can read
where you're headed for.
You can read a name on a screen, and it's all it says is produced by, and it's somebody, and that is a straight up writer.
Right.
That person does no producing. They are just on a writing staff doing the writing.
Yeah. I wonder how that happened.
Because the title is worth something.
No,
it's like a
how
cab
did the
medallion.
producers union even allow the title for, like there's the producers guild, right? And there's the writers guild. Like how was it allowed?
That's what...
How come you can't just say I'm a director too?
That's what agents...
There's no crossover there. Wait, I have to tell you something.
Yes, do it.
You said something once, and it was a geological shift for me with regards to the comeback, because we had gotten canceled, and I didn't feel bad about it, because I felt like, well, someone made a mistake, and that's their mistake. We did the best show we could. Someone didn't like it, or I don't know what. Nothing I can do about that. I'm just proud of what we did. Honestly, I felt fine. And then, people kept saying, especially business people, I'm getting to you, but business, like executive types or people who ran networks that I happen to know, would say, what happened? Were the ratings bad? No, they were the same, if not better than Entourage that started the, season before. Well, it must have been something. I said, I don't know. Michael thought maybe because, we don't have a point of reference for a woman in that role, and that's what it is. That's what it is.
Wait, I don't understand that. What does that mean? Point of reference for a woman?
For a woman who is...
the lead is a woman.
Not just the lead, but flawed and having that kind of ego and being humiliated.
Too flawed?
And, setting herself up for humiliation, kept stepping into that. So, but, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. How is that though? And how could I forget? Is that possibly it? Then you said something. I was watching your show. And it wasn't related. It was just that you were talking about someone made a joke at the expense of, someone who's, from a marginalized group. And I don't remember specifically what it was. And you said, come on, I'm all for humor is humor and it should be allowed, okay? But you don't make fun of the victim. that's not going to work. And that's when the penny dropped, and I went, because women are not the people in power. They're not like the white guy in power, and women are kind of that marginalized group. And it really bothered a lot of people to watch a woman get humiliated all the time.
I feel like that's a casualty of an audience that was, I'm sorry, the people who didn't get it were just not sophisticated enough to appreciate it. And that's fine. There are things I'm unsophisticated in and I do not appreciate. Hockey, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. And others. I'm stupid like watching like murky thriller mystery types. That's when I need a girlfriend. That's, someone who I'm always watching a movie with, like, honey, what happened there with the guy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the same guy. Oh, I didn't see that where he put the paper down. That's where a girlfriend would be good.
Or anyone watching it.
Not that
paying closer attention.
I'm a lonely guy. I'm just saying the kind of person you're watching movies with, and you can always ask. But so we're all dim in our own ways, but they're missing, like, that is what's such genius about that character is that, that's what's funny. I mean,
right,
W.C. Fields falling.
The difference between a man behaving like that and a woman behaving like that. It's like that's how people who are driven towards something like the spotlight, they're going to make those stupid things.
I don't think that's what it was.
Don't?
No, because I think that's what made it very relatable, because the subject matter is very specific. That is where you lost people, because it's like, what is this world? To us, it's our world. And also the level of subtlety in the comedy that you were working with is something that's what made me love this show so much and watch it multiple times, because the level of the subtlety. But that's my business or my mind or whatever. Many people, that kind of subtlety is just not in the realm of possibility for them to appreciate.
Yeah,
I don't mean that as a put down. I just mean...
No.
Let me give you an example of a scene. You were talking, the gay makeup guy.
Yeah, Mickey. Yeah.
Okay. And you run into this other guy, and you're asking about some other friend. I mean, I think they were both gay, and so that was in the mix of the scene. Mm-hmm. And it was so brilliant because you never enunciated what we were thinking, and yet we knew it was, because they give you this piece of information. Oh no, he died, and you react. You never say the word AIDS.
Right.
But you're like, oh. And then he goes, oh no, he was hit by a car crossing Barham. And you go, oh, good. No, not good.
Right.
And like encapsulated in that 13 seconds of genius comedy.
Right, that's how you know she thought it was AIDS.
So much, but without ever saying it.
Right.
To me, that is the genius of that show. I also see how other people go, what was that conversation? Why is that funny?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I have the same sort of issue with stuff. I mean, one reason I started this podcast is because lots of people just are not interested in politics or what's really, that kind of stuff at all. They're interested in more human stuff that is relatable to everybody's lives. They don't want to hear about Ukraine and the UN and the fucking ACLU and abortion, and that's fine. And they never will, and I will never get them. But anybody can listen to this.
Yeah. Because you just want to entertain.
I just want to get high with you. That's what that's what I want to do.
But I do just want to entertain, honestly. I mean, I do think not entertain. That makes me sound like Ginger from Gilligan's Island.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Ginger.
no, I don't. But I do think it's really necessary.
Sweetheart, you don't have to fucking convince me on that one. I am all about the idea that we're all just in entertainment. We use different clay.
Yeah.
I don't see my people, Bill, you're a pundit. Well, I think I am selling wisdom out there. Yes, I think the country's fucking dumb and they do need me to straighten it out. I'm not gonna lie about that. But my main thing is I'm entertaining.
Yeah.
And if I'm not, I'm nothing.
Right.
Because that's how I look at shit. If you don't entertain me, like, you know, we did a funny thing about a year ago when, not this Oscar batch, but the one before was just incredibly lugubrious. You know, Minari and, you know, the Nomad Land, and it was just Debbie Downer time. And, you know, and we did a whole thing. It was funny about, like, come on, you know, it's got to be a little entertaining. And yes, we understand there are issues, and you can, but Hollywood did used to know how to take an issue, but also make it not just sad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you say
That's
you're
true.
out to entertain, you
That's
had
true.
me at hello with that one.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone needs a break. I mean, that's what everyone wants. Really badly. They really want a break. But by the way, your show, you have no agenda. You're just a very funny person, and
Thank
you're
you.
being really honest
Yeah.
about and brave about what you think about things and how you feel about how people respond to what you think too. Like, you know,
Yeah,
I actually said but
Yeah, and
no, and there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of value in that.
but we both,
think.
I think, have these kind of careers where we got the memo fairly early on. There is somewhat of a ceiling for us.
Yeah.
And it is a ceiling created by the fact that, you know, there are levels of subtlety that, you know, everybody can go and enjoy, what's the Top Gun.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's $1 billion
Yeah.
opening and 1 billion people will see it. We're not playing in that.
No. I don't see. Yeah.
And we don't.
I
And
can't imagine.
We can't, and we don't. We really don't even want to, right?
Can't imagine anyone asking me to be in
Well, yeah, you don't.
Maverick 3 or whatever, you know. You know, it would be great.
Actually, you would fucking steal that, and also make
Yeah.
it. It would be so great if they actually did that, or you were in a mission.
I know, but who's going, wait, are you 60 yet? Because it would be great.
But you don't look anywhere near 60.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you look great.
Thank you.
You always did.
Thank you.
I always
So do
thought you. I mean, I always had a little crush on you on Friends because I thought you were the smart one on your show, and I liked.
just got dizzy.
And I was, quite frankly, the smart one on my show. Wait, I was the only one on my show. But
Which makes you the smartest one on your show.
But I mean, not that everybody on the show wasn't smart. They were all smart. Everybody's smart.
Yeah, they are.
It's a smart.
Well, but they are.
They are. They really
They
are.
actually
yeah.
are.
And they're all good.
Learned a lot from them.
Yeah. But I would say even they probably would agree. If you had to vote for who was the smartest, it would probably be you.
Who's the smartest? Who's the one that drones on and on about things we don't want to talk about? Who's the one that always
what
has
you
a
did?
theory about something?
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I'm always like, what's my theory behind that? You know.
But you have a lot of time
What's
to
the
kill
evidence? How do you
while
put
they're
that
setting
together?
up and shit, right? That's what I remember
Right,
from
chill.
sitcom.
But I would bring up, you know, look, well, no, I'm watching CNN. You got to see what's happening here. It's very important. And, you know.
And they didn't want to get into that?
Okay, yeah, no, I'll be back. Will you tell me what happened? Yeah.
What were they talking about?
Things that people talk about. I mean, other things. Yes,
Right.
that.
Of course, you were in your
But
20s.
not for as long as not me.
Right.
I was 30 when we started it.
30,
I was in
ha
my
ha.
30s.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, but people in their 20s generally tend to be more, you know, first of all, sort of like navel gazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like your first, I always say you're born twice in life. Once when you're actually born. What? I'm going
Someone's
over.
calling me.
Oh, on your phone? I mean, on your watch? Oh, for fuck's sake. I can't even.
I dismissed it
No. I just don't. I never saw anybody like get a call on their watch.
because my phone's just right there.
But what? I know.
So
but,
it rings on here.
but why do you need
I don't know. That's not why I
that
have
extra
it.
layer of?
That's not why I have it.
Why do you have it?
I like to know what time it is.
But you didn't have to get a watch that hooked up to your phone.
And it also
Just-
tells me, you know, if I've taken any steps today or was I just sitting in my chair all day?
But your brain knows that.
Not anymore, Bill.
What are you saying? You're an android? You're like, do you know Ray Kurzweil?
Huh? No?
Oh, he's an author.
They won't. It's really important, I guess.
It is? All right, I'll let you get out of here if you need to. But he's an amazing thinker and scientist and professor, and he's been right, predicted a lot of amazing things, like down to the year, like the fall of the Soviet Union.
Oh, wow.
But he predicts, he has a book called The Singularity, which says in 2028, man and machine will basically
become.
I mean, that's only 6 years away. Now, of course, we are already partway there. People do have parts in them that are machine parts.
Yes, with computers in it, some of them even.
Yes. So,
with things that communicate with
I mean,
computers.
as you and I are, punching old age in the mouth, is this something that, like, you would consider? Like, because I sure would.
Really?
Well, I mean,
don't
if
know.
I could just keep my brain and my dick. The rest
Your
of
two
it,
favorite things.
The rest of it you can fucking replace.
Your two favorite
Now, that's
things.
really
But
kinda
they have a
true.
sibling rivalry.
Oh, why argue? He's always going to win. But
Still, that's pretty good.
yeah, that is pretty good. We'll be right back. Now, do you have to take
Or
your
not.
call, or I mean,
No, absolutely not.
okay, all right. I know. I'm just so grateful.
Yeah.
Grateful you're
This is
here.
long enough. Wait, can I ask you one
Yes,
question?
you can ask me anything. We're sitting around drinking.
What field of history? What were you studying?
Well,
What was it?
I was at Cornell, and I was trying to establish that. I knew I loved history. Taught myself American history. Could name all the American presidents in a row if you forced me to. Not because I have it memorized, just because I know the history. I think I could. Anyway, so I did love medieval. That really called to me, and I remember, I mean, this is before computers, so we were in the stacks, the library.
I loved the stacks.
Yeah, the stacks. See, you're the smart one. You're in the stacks. The Girl in the Stacks. That'd be a good romantic song or movie that I'll never write. But so
The Girl in the Stacks, everybody. Well, I'll see you tomorrow night.
it's kind of sexy, that title.
Girl in the Stacks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would have to be a period piece because there's no more stacks.
No.
But I remember being in there, these dusty old books, and I was writing some paper on something in the medieval period. And the professor, he's talking about the paper or something, and he said, I asked him a question, and he said, well, it doesn't matter. At this point, there's really nothing new you could add to this. And I'm like, then what the fuck am I doing with this as a major? Now, mind you, I knew I was going to be a comedian when I was 10.
Oh, okay.
So when I was at college, I really wasn't trying to get a degree that would get me a job. I knew what I was going to do.
Okay.
Go and...
So the grades you weren't out for, I got to get an A.
No, but I did anyway. I was always...
Wow.
I was a straight A student in high school.
amazing.
I missed one day of high school.
Wow.
COVID. And no, but I loved the subject. If I had like a 28-hour day, I would spend 2 of them just reading history.
Wow. I don't agree with that professor, though. There's no such thing.
But it was discouraging.
Right. How are you to know then? No, because I got to say.
Right, I was younger than when I was the idiot who wrote this shit. You can imagine how stupid I was then.
Well. No.
But it's almost beyond.
No, but
Yes.
because I've got to say, who do you think you are? And the historians, that give us context for whatever the person's looking at. There are different interpretations of history. So my question is, would you read different historians who had differing opinions about certain events?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always someone who wants to be a revisionist.
Based on new letters they found, new information?
Just based on they have to publish something.
Okay. Yeah, that's a problem too.
That's a lot of what academia is, such a scuzzy area. I know people think, I'm sure there's plenty of professors now like dropping their pipes. How dare you? Yes, I'm sure there's exceptions, and yes, we need colleges and universities, but a lot of it is, they know this better than anybody, political and what you publish, and yes, sometimes you just have to find. I don't think that professor was wrong when he said that. If I was researching the Venerable Bede or somebody who lived in 690 in Lindisfarne in the monastery, no, we're not going to find anything new about this motherfucker. Anything that came out about this guy, we know, I think. There's no more Venerable Bede stuff TMZ is not going to come out tomorrow. There's a story about the Venerable Bede.
Well, no, TMZ won't. But who knows? Sometimes there's a letter, there's a something somewhere. But even without that, it's just, I don't know. Like, and then you have archaeology where they find new things about how people were killed or what they were eating.
Well, that's
if someone was poisoned or.
Well, that doesn't happen that often. That can. But where that does happen a lot, of course, is in early man history. That is always changing because they don't have the complete fossil record at all. They have pieces here and pieces there.
Don't get me started on the fossil record. No, evolutionary biology was what I was interested in.
Before comedy?
Yeah, before comedy. Yeah, that's what I was studying in school. And yeah.
Well, that's why I always thought for your genealogy show, you should have on Lucy.
Okay.
Lucy.
Yeah, the very first.
Who better?
But not the very first anymore, I don't think.
Well, early.
Early. I'm related to her, I think.
We're all related to her. Who is Lucy?
I don't know.
Tell the audience who Lucy is.
Lucy was
about.
Well, I don't know when. I don't have the details.
2.5 million years ago.
That's it?
Yes. Lucy Lucy was about 4 feet tall and lived about 2.5 million years ago and is one of our direct ancestors.
Yeah.
Humans came along, like 200,000 years ago. And of course, we are not the only human species. We wiped the other ones out. Wherever, have you read the great book Sapiens?
No.
Oh, you'd love it.
No, I didn't.
That is a book for you. You'd love that book.
Okay.
Because it talks about, many things about Sapiens, but one, wherever humans went, the fossil record is very clear. We killed everything, including the other human species.
Yeah.
And the other big animal species. Like, there's a whole bunch of species, for example, in Australia, and then humans arrive, and 1,000 years later, we don't have any fossils from those big animals. They just fucking killed them all, like the way the people killed the buffalo in our American West, just for fun and just like...
Well, for fun. They're food, too.
Food, but they killed a lot of buffalo just because, they would just, they would have a herd and they would just, there was too many to use. The Indians, of course, used all the buffalo.
Right.
We were the opposite.
Yeah.
And we're still those assholes.
Yeah. That's right. When are we going to stop being surprised?
Well,
get used to it. No, that's not the right attitude. And it's not funny enough to even say. But...
Well, not that, look, all humans are shitty people. It's not like Indians didn't do shitty things too to each other.
If feeling insecure enough and scared enough, I think humans become really shitty. But I think when there's a crisis or a need for people to come together and help each other, they do. To be cooperative. I think they do.
Oh.
When it's imminent.
Well, some do, and some take advantage of the situation. Many take advantage. Some do.
But then Sheriff Taylor runs them out of town. So it's okay.
Is that where you're getting this? That was a great lesson teaching show.
There used to be great lessons. I was just going to say, remember when you'd watch a show and there was always, you knew that the right thing would happen in the end. And I miss that. There was
a great classic episode of, what was it called? Mayberry.
Well, now I can't remember.
The town was Mayberry. Was it called Mayberry RFD? Or Welcome to Mayberry? Or
The Andy Griffith Show.
The Andy Griffith Show. Exactly. You know why? Because
I'm like...
Right. The Andy Griffith Show.
Sheriff without a gun? No, that was...
I watched it in reruns when I was a kid, when I was homesick, and I loved
Me
it.
too.
So there was an episode where Opie, Ron Howard, of course, later to be the great director Ron Howard, he kills a bird with a slingshot. And then Andy's trying to teach him a lesson why he shouldn't have done that. And Opie's complaining about the bird chirping. And he said, yeah, well, I'm not going to shoo that bird away. That's that bird calling for his mama, and I'm going to let you hear how sad she is.
Wow.
So I don't know why that, why that one stuck in my memory, that episode. But it may have been why I joined PETA in the 90s. And I've been a PETA board member all these years, you know?
Yeah.
I always
No,
loved
but
that.
it's right. And it's kind of sophisticated. Because it's very easy to say, all right, you killed a bird. You didn't have to do that. But yeah, all right. I mean, because that's how a lot of people felt like, well, it's a bird. It's not a conscious being like we are.
Right.
Yeah, we have to treat each other with respect. If we're all working on something, you have to show some appreciation for what other people are contributing. You know, I don't mean demonstrate it every day. Show appreciation and not saying, what the fuck, you did it wrong. You know, you don't talk to someone like that.
Is that what your experience has been on sets?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's
not to me personally, but I've seen it.
Yes, but sets are tense places.
But they don't have to be.
No.
And
well,
they're less tense.
No,
now. I feel like the ones I've been on have been much less tense.
Really? But it's a high wire industry. I mean, we're paid more than most people, a lot more. Okay. You're up on a higher wire. Like if you fuck up, it can be in front of millions instead of just 3 people, right?
Yeah.
What's at stake if you're on a film set? You know, a film is very often, $150 million startup industry. That's really how it's a quick startup industry.
Right.
That's investing $150 million. If you were making widgets, it's like, boy, we better sell some of these widgets, and it could fail.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah. So people are tense. And I've never seen any sort of set where there wasn't some sort of blow up or people going nuts. I mean, we see some of them on film. We've seen actors and directors and go nuts.
From a while ago.
I've had it happen to me personally on a set. Like just screamed at by someone for no good reason.
Right. And then how did it go after that?
That's a sitcom that was not the one I talked about before, but the other one that it was quickly canceled. But,
No, but it's just...
Yeah, it's rough.
It doesn't have, but it's not necessary. It's not, you handed me the wrong instrument for this brain surgery. That's not what it is. It's not in the moment, life or death. It's digital. But it's not even film. We can do the take again.
But show people.
We have editors. I mean, everyone has, and your best work comes when you're just a little more relaxed. You have like a nervous energy, but it doesn't have to be an angry energy. You know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's hard to get the very talented people without their fucking quirks. Show people are just, everything about them is exaggerated. They're very often exaggeratedly good looking, temperamental. My friend always says, insanity photographs.
Oh.
They're crazy people, but something about that is also charismatic and you can't take your eyes off it.
Or honest, because they can't help themselves.
Sometimes, yes. Trump's that way. He can't help revealing himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're ever going to have this utopia where you have the really talented people and there's not craziness going on. It's a crazy business.
Okay.
It's like
I know plenty of talented people that are not crazy.
I agree. And if you have the choice to work with them, you should.
Yeah.
But there might be
there's less tolerance for the ones that act out and misbehave and make it a miserable experience.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a good thing.
Yeah, unless they make a fortune. If the thing makes a fortune because of that person, they're going to put up with an amazing amount of shit.
They are. But you're saying, I mean, I don't know that I agree that a person's difficult, punishing side of them is what makes them talented. I think maybe they think it is, but I don't think it is. I really don't.
I'm just saying.
I don't think they trust that they've just got it and you don't have to panic or worry over it.
I'm just saying, I don't think they're separable, like watching the Johnny Depp trial. I mean, some of the things he was doing, passing out and throwing plates and,
Throwing places.
That's right.
Yeah.
Calling her a cunt and this and that are not model behavior.
No.
But the jury forgave him because he's wildly charismatic. I don't know if you can separate those two things. He's a nut. He always was a nut. Insanity photographs. It works on camera. And if you took away the insanity, I think, you'd have Richard Grieco.
I almost said, wait, who?
He was this Richard Grieco.
No, I do know the name.
Now I got to know him and Jenny Bottaducci.
Sorry.
Oh, I got so many people mad at me. He was a very, very good-looking actor on a, like one of those shows like 21 Jump Street, or he had a minute there where he was the it boy.
Yeah, I was watching TV at that time.
But it didn't quite.
Yeah.
I would have, I'm sure there are people who bet money on Richard Grieco and not Johnny Depp. And after that trial, I bet you Richard Grieco's like, boy, I dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you go back to your life in the wild.
And you need to find another clove cigarette.
Oh, I got them right here.
It's a pretty case.
I know. I find it so sophisticated to have a little...
It is.
It's
It's really elegant.
Yes.
Very nice.
Madame? No.
No, thank you.
Well, thank you. This
you
was
very much.
more fun than I could tell you. And I'm so flattered that you just did it.
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Because you need me like a hole in the
you.
head. Oh.
What?
That's how I feel about you. You're you.
No, there's
I
a
do.
big difference.
Don't make me go through other parts of the comeback that...
Yeah. But meanwhile, by the way, I brought that whole thing up but for a reason, was because it made sense to me, like for the first time and I was like, because the people that I had talked to thinking, they see women as victims. And it never dawned on me. Just like it never dawned on you that,
but that was...
It never dawned on me. And I went, shit,
but
you
that
missed it
character
again.
was so much more than just that. I mean, that was certainly...
I thought so.
The MacGuffin that gets the character going. I mean, but again, I think that's what was relatable. We've all been the person who thinks they're going to be cast as the young hot one, not literally, but in life, but really is going to be the shrumpy aunt with the catchphrase. I mean, that alone, should have won you all the awards, because that was just so perfect.
Yeah.
And certainly everybody in show business knows it, but in life it happens too.
Yes, no,
It does.
There are plenty of people in other industries that went,
course.
Yeah, I mean...
You think you're gonna,
obvious.
and they don't, they see you as this. And the way she smiled through it all,
yes.
The way
How about that?
She never let it get them down. I mean, she never let that heavy set guy who I'm still afraid of.
Pauly G.
Oh, I did not like him.
Yeah.
Remember one time he was getting blown when you walked in on him? Oh, it was just, everything was just terrible about him. He still scares me. He should have been on Oz.
Oh, so funny.
It was so scary. But you would never get bitter. You would never, you would just soldier on.
Just kept going.
Yes.
Yeah.
I find that so much more inspiring than,
I think it has to do with how you see things. Because for some people, it was like, she just got humiliated at every turn. And for other people, it was like, no, she just kept going. She just kept saying, yeah, I clocked that. I won't have it. I'm going to create my own reality. Here we go.
And then they were nice enough somebody was smart enough to do it again.
Yeah, that was fun.
A third time?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's been 9 years soon, so maybe.
I mean, that character is.
I know, I slip into her so
I
easily.
mean, there are people who have done, as through time they've done it, the same character. They just picked it up. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan Partridge. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. All right.
Random.
Now the mics are off. All right.
That was fun.
I feel like I got to know you.
Me too.
I love it.
Good, the podcasts.
Club